Hello, my name is Abby Hart. I'm senior editor of Landscape Management Magazine, and I am here with Britt Wood, CEO of the National Association of Landscape Professionals, as well as Andrew Bray, VP of Government Relations for the National Association of Landscape Professionals. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you for having us, Abby. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for having us.
There will be two Senate runoff elections in Georgia on January 5th. Could you run down some of the outcomes of those races and what the implications might be for the landscape industry?
Just to kind of put this into perspective, this is pretty crazy if you think about it. So first of all, you would almost never have two senators from the same state in the same cycle. You know, for those listening, they stagger the senators into three basically terms, 3 6-year terms. So you're trying to have about 33 senators come up every 2 years. So to have two senators from the same state, the only way it happened was because of a death. So obviously they had to do a special election this cycle while the other, Senator Perdue, was actually in cycle. And so what happened is that Georgia, they have a state law that requires the winner to get over 50%. So even though we had a Democratic winner and a Republican winner, although very narrowly Perdue edged his, I believe, by the last count, neither of them hit 50%. They were both Warnock was at 48%, Perdue was at 49%. So pretty close. So now they'll go to a runoff. And so you have these two senators, two Senate seats for control of the Senate, in the state that had one of the closest presidential elections, on record, all happening on January 5th. I actually tend to think, if we wanted to go back and talk politics a little earlier, one of the reasons that Trump isn't conceding and the Republican senators are not coming out openly against him is because of this seat. And there's a huge fear of would the president angrily, disenfranchise his base and walk away, right now and just say, hey, the Democrats can have the Senate. They want the president, and the president wants to be wanted. Let's be honest. I think in his next career, besides whether that be in media, whether he wants to run again, I do think he wants to be a kingmaker. In this case, might be makers. So when you look at the polls right now, they're pretty close. I think what's interesting, and I've been saying this the whole time, I don't understand how anybody's going to ticket split, right? I don't think you walk in, a ticket splitter is somebody that may have gone in and voted for President Trump, or maybe not President Trump, voted for President Biden, but they're a staunch Republican, so they voted Republican the rest down the ticket, but they were just kind of fed up with President Trump. Ticket splitting happens, okay? But in this instance, I just can't see somebody saying, well, I'm going to vote for Senator Loeffler, but then Warnock, and an R&D, even though the polls are showing that Perdue's doing a little bit better than Loeffler. I tend to think that a state like Georgia, a Republican stronghold for many, many years, is going to come home to roost in a special election. And traditionally, that's what will happen. States will act more like their historical norm in non-presidential elections. So when you talk about a special election, I think it's going to be really hard for the Democrats to generate that same, buzz and energy on January 5th like they did on November 4th. So anything can happen, and as Britt knows, every prediction I made over the last 3 weeks has generally been wrong. So if I were you, I would go and place money on the two Democrats, since I think that the Republicans will probably win. But if that does happen, then the Republicans will control the Senate 52 to 48. If it doesn't happen, you get to a 50-50 tie, and then the tie-breaking vote would be Vice President-elect Kamala Harris.
So what would that mean then, in either direction for the landscape industry?
So I think a Republican-controlled Senate in this environment might be very helpful for us, as we call it, the Republican firewall in the Senate. We know that last year there was a nasty bill introduced by retiring Senator Tom Udall and Representative Joe Neguse that would really upend the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, Rodenticide Act and really impact the way that pesticides are regulated in America. And so that would be alarming to me. So I think having that Republican firewall is good. That being said, the only other flip side of that is the fact that I do think Senate Leader McConnell is not probably willing to play ball. So I also think you're going to see a lot of stuff kind of stagnate. So as much as we were talking about all these things everyone wants to do, I think you could look to a lot of gridlock over the next 2 years and not have as many things as we want to get done, such as H-2B reform. So I do think it's a safer play for us with a Republican-controlled Senate, but I also think you need to temper expectations of what could actually happen in that political climate. And the only other one thing I will mention, even though we were talking about the Senate, the House got so close in its majority that there's infighting already beginning in the Democratic Party. There are those that think that the election was only as close as it was because people were talking about defunding police and socialism and these ideas that are very popular at the far left of the party. And then there are those that are saying, well, those are the people that ginned up the base to get us out of there. So there is going to be a civil war inside of the Democratic Party leading into the midterms. So don't think anything's going to get easily done with the House either. And that might be the type of situation where Speaker Pelosi is going to cut some deals with Kevin McCarthy and some of the more moderate Republicans, which I think is a tremendous opportunity for the landscape industry.
Yeah, I would agree absolutely with everything. I think Speaker Pelosi is going to be in a very different situation than we've seen her in the past couple of years, and this Senate will be interesting as well. And I, just to round back around to Georgia, I think turnout's going to be key, right? The Democrats got really great turnout, especially in the urban areas in Georgia, and so are they able to repeat that in January? We'll see. It will be certainly interesting to watch. But as Andrew mentioned, we do, and I think this is why you probably see the numbers on Wall Street also continuing to do well. On the whole, is because people like stability. People don't like radical change or unpredictability, and so a Republican firewall in the Senate gives us a little bit more predictability. And it makes compromise, more important, and that may not be a bad thing.
That's great. It sounds like there's reason to be cautiously optimistic, but with emphasis on the caution here. So we've talked a lot about federal governmental issues. Can we talk a little bit about how NALP is approaching governmental issues on the local level?
Sure. So we, as we did mention that everything federal is going to impact what is going on local, and there were a lot of local elections. I do want to just point out, interestingly, we thought that there was going to be this blue wave, and we were actually really concerned that there was going to be several state governments that went into what we call as the trifecta, a blue trifecta, which means one party holds the governor and their Senate and then their version of the House. Sometimes in some states it's called a General Assembly instead of a House of Representatives. Point is there's three different components of that, and we went into this election thing, we would see a shift, and actually stayed pretty much the same. There's about 20 Republican trifectas, there's about 18 Democratic trifectas, and then there's a bunch of mixed. So that's actually good. We kind of knew what we were going into. It kind of also lets us know what states are already going to be the problem states coming up the next cycle. And problem's not really the right word because they're not problem states, just places that we know we're going to have some issues. And so what's really important for us, and I have to plug it, is we have something called the Advocacy Contact Team. And that is where we get folks to sign up that are willing to get alerts if something comes up in their state. Because we need to have boots on the ground at the state and local level whenever one of these things comes up. We do everything for you. We will send you the email alert. We will send you the information. We will send you talking points, but we need, folks to contact their legislators when those things happen. So everything is local. You always hear that. I do think it's very true, even especially in our industry. But we're prepared to act, and we're actually already making plans right now. I can tell you, Bob Mann just sent an email out. I'm not going to name the state into those people in the Advocacy Contact Team, but we're already preparing for something in 2021 in a very specific state.
At the end of the day, we can provide you with the necessary talking points, resources, everything else. But nobody likes to hear from Andrew or I, and when it comes to a local situation, they want to hear from the people who are on the ground and are being impacted. So we can help prepare you. We'll get you ready, but we need your help to get actively involved and make a difference.
Great, thank you. So can we talk a little bit about how NALP is preparing for moving forward into 2021?
Sure. Obviously, we're going to keep Andrew as busy as possible. He's already working on inroads, and one of the things that we do rely heavily on is our political action committee and utilizing some of those funds to help get the access we need, especially when you have new congressmen and senators coming into play, as well as a new administration. So Just a quick plug for the pack. So you're going to see a lot of work, as Andrew mentioned. He is going to be focused kind of behind the scenes, as we don't think a lot of our issues are going to hit the frying pan at the federal level right away. But we're clearly going to be looking at how we can invest more resources in working in the states and localities. So that'll be important for us. For the association as a whole, we're really focused on driving membership at this point. I'm pleased to report that we had a net gain of over 300 members from 2019 to 2020, which is fantastic. And we're continuing to try and make sure we're providing the right resources for all of our members. So some of our larger members are looking for more access to Andrew and the insights that are coming out of Capitol Hill. So our smaller members are really looking for opportunities to grow and resources they need to run their businesses. So you'll see a lot more from them on that. And then I guess the really big thing that I'm kind of excited to share with everyone is, obviously COVID has put us in a situation where we weren't gathering as much together. So we did more online. Now we're optimistic in 2021 based on the 2 vaccines that are reported out and with a very high efficacy rate, that we will be able to get back together. But we are going to seize this opportunity to create an online learning center. And this online learning center is going to be focused on helping people with their certifications. So they're going to help you prepare for certifications, but they're also going to help you maintain the CEUs, the continuing education units you need for certifications. And that's on the landscape and the lawn care side. So we're going to be working with the states on the lawn care side to ensure that we'll have programs that you can do virtually that will help you earn credits towards your licensing. So the idea is to make it easier for people to maintain their licensing and cheaper. And so that's one of the focal points we'll have in 2021. We're excited about that. And I'd be remiss to say we're also excited about these vaccines. I'm really hoping we're all having this conversation together in Louisville next year in 2021. So, certainly for us, we feel good about 2021. We're excited that, for the potential of these vaccines and the potential of getting everybody back together, but also some of the lessons we've learned in 2020 related to how we can, provide information and material to our members as we move forward. And then last but certainly not least, and I don't think we've touched on it enough, but Andrew and his team will be very vigilant in ensuring that the industry stays on the essential list. The DHS is a essential list and working in all the states because we really know that this industry is essential, and we want to make sure that all of our representatives and whether in the states, federal, or local, know how essential this industry is.
Couldn't agree more.
Is there anything else you'd like our audience to be more aware of, such as ways they can get more involved or ways they can stay tuned for more updates and stay connected with NALP as this all unfolds?
Sure, and I've already done the plug for the advocacy contact team, and that's for those that are willing to put in a little extra work. But if you really just want to stay informed and you want to maybe get involved here and there, make sure you sign up for our Friday email called The Advocate. Bob Mann and I put it together every week, and we try to cover what's happening at the federal, state, and local level. Put in some, of our own news articles, but also mine some other interesting articles that could be interesting to geeks like Bob and myself. But I really hope that people do stay tuned there. And I know Britt has something he wants to close with, but I would just like to at least close with this. Hey, it's 2020. I can't think of a weirder year. So did any of us think that the election was going to go off without a hitch, or that everyone was going to end the year feeling warm and fuzzy? I think the answer is no. What I am optimistic about, though, is this was just 2020, and I'm optimistic to get to 2021. But I also just say for all the people that voted, the most votes a president has ever received was President-elect Joe Biden. The second most of all time was President Donald Trump. So whether your guy won or lost, I think it was pretty incredible at how the democratic process is working and how engaged everybody is. I mean, we set records. And I just really hope in the end, I do, and I'm optimistic everyone will come together and we will find some common ground and we'll find some areas to work together. But more importantly, we're going to advocate on behalf of the landscape industry and make sure that everyone can continue to operate, as best as they can and continue to boost this industry. So that's my optimism for my close, Abby. And I'll turn it over to Britt now.
So I'll share Andrew's optimism for 2021 and his sentiment on 2020. And then I guess the last thing is for those of you who know Andrew and I, you know, we don't normally carry as much facial hair around on us. And we both are doing No Shave November, really promoting men's health, especially colorectal and prostate cancer. So the big message is please go get your test. Don't stay at home and avoid the doctor. It's important that as women's health is incredibly important, and we draw a lot of attention to that in October, men's health is as well. And November is our month to make sure that you are getting the necessary exams and checkups to keep yourself healthy in the long run. So you won't see these the next time we're all together, but we felt it was really important, and we're really encouraging you to please get tested and stay on top of your health. And that's it, Abby. We're beyond that. We're just looking forward to getting to 2021.
I completely understand. I am in that same boat as well. Well, thank you both for joining me today. I really appreciate the perspective and all of your insider knowledge on the political environment we're all in. And thanks again for your time. Everybody, this is Andrew Bray, VP of Governmental Relations with NALP, and Britt Wood, CEO of NALP. And I'm Abby Hart, Senior Editor of Landscape Management Magazine. And thank you for watching Landscape Management at Home Edition.